Welcome to back. This is the 1985 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of people pass by without a second glance. But here's the shocking truth. This tiny cent can be worth far more than its face value. Struck at the Denver Mint in massive numbers, most are ordinary, but hidden among them are rare treasures. In flawless grades like MS-67 or MS-68, this penny has sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. Even more stunning, dramatic mint errors, off-center strikes, double strikes, or clipped planchets can push its value into the hundreds. What seems like just 1 cent in your pocket could secretly be a jackpot for collectors. The 1985 D penny proves that in numismatics, the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. The 1985 D 1-cent coin from the United States of America is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, a continuation of the design first issued in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Struck at the Denver Mint, the D mint mark located beneath the date identifies its origin. This coin, like others of its era, reflects the transition of U.S. coinage materials and the historical context of mid-1980s America. It was minted in extremely large quantities, yet collectors and numismatists value it for its role in U.S. monetary history, potential condition rarity, and for notable error varieties that can make certain examples worth significantly more than face value. By 1985, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned the penny's composition from nearly pure copper to a copper-plated zinc planchet. This change occurred in 1982 due to rising copper prices, which made it impractical to produce coins with intrinsic metal value greater than their denomination. As such, the 1985 D cent consists of a zinc core, 97.5%, coated with a thin copper layer, 2.5%, giving it the traditional reddish appearance, but with a lighter weight of 2.5 grams compared to the older copper cents that weighed 3.11 grams. This difference in composition is important for collectors, as some 1982 cents exist in both copper and zinc varieties, but by 1985, only the zinc-based version was officially produced. The obverse of the 1985 D penny features Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of his birth. Lincoln is depicted facing right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1985 accompanied by the D mint mark to the right. This design is not only a tribute to Lincoln, but also a cornerstone of American numismatic art, as it was the first circulating U.S. coin to bear the portrait of a real historical figure rather than an allegorical design. The reverse design, created by Frank Gasparo, shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design replaced the wheat ear reverse of earlier Lincoln cents, starting in 1959. Every detail of the memorial is represented, including the seated statue of Lincoln visible at its center if examined under magnification. The inscriptions include United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum above the memorial, and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. The symbolism of this design linked Lincoln's legacy with the national monument dedicated to him, strengthening the patriotic and historical meaning behind the cent. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint struck over 5.28 billion Lincoln cents in 1985, an enormous figure that reflects the widespread demand for low-denomination coinage in circulation during the decade. Because of this high mintage, most 1985 D pennies are common and carry little premium in circulated grades. However, condition is everything in numismatics. While worn examples are worth only face value, uncirculated specimens graded by professional services such as Peace GS or NGC can command higher prices depending on their luster, strike quality, and grade. At the highest end, coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 red can fetch hundreds of dollars at auction because such well-preserved examples are rare despite the large mintage. Collectors also pay attention to varieties and mint errors from this year. For example, some 1985 D cents may exhibit die cracks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or double dies. These errors, caused during the minting process, make certain coins unique and highly collectible. Even minor off-center or misaligned die strikes can raise a penny's value from a cent to several dollars, while dramatic errors may sell for hundreds. Because the Denver Mint produced so many coins at such a fast pace, the likelihood of small striking mistakes increases, providing opportunities for error coin enthusiasts. From a historical perspective, the 1985 D cent represents more than just a unit of currency. It reflects an era when the United States was in the midst of economic change, transitioning from traditional industries to a more global economy, while also grappling with inflation concerns that made the cost of producing pennies a topic of debate. Discussions about eliminating the cent have persisted since then, yet the Lincoln cent endures as the longest-running coin design in American history. In modern collecting, the 1985 D cent is often overlooked because of its commonness, but it still has significance in complete Lincoln cent sets. Every year, including those with high mintages, is a piece of the puzzle for dedicated collectors. The key to its desirability lies in pristine mint state condition and unique errors. For beginners, the coin is easily obtainable and serves as a gateway into the world of coin collecting. For advanced numismatists, it represents another challenge, finding that perfect high-grade specimen or rare error among billions of ordinary coins. In conclusion, the 1985 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent is a small yet meaningful piece of American numismatic heritage. It carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the artistry of Brenner and Gasparo, the economic history of the copper-to-zinc transition, and the intrigue of mint errors and condition rarity. While most examples remain worth just 1 cent, a select few can achieve impressive values on the collector's market, making this humble coin an enduring subject of fascination. The 1985 D. Lincoln cent is more than just a small copper-colored coin. It is a historical artifact that connects the past, present, and future of American currency. When you hold this coin, you are holding a symbol of both tradition and change. Although minted in the billions, each cent tells the story of the U.S. Mint's continuous production, technological evolution, and the nation's unbroken tribute to one of its most respected presidents, Abraham Lincoln. The Denver Mint, responsible for striking coins with the D Mint mark, was a powerhouse of production in 1985, releasing over 5 billion pieces into circulation. Such large numbers often hide the fact that within this ocean of ordinary coins, a few extraordinary examples exist, pristine, untouched by human hands, or struck with unique errors that can turn a simple penny into a collector's treasure. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1985 D cent is its composition. By this year, the mint had fully embraced the use of zinc planchets with a thin copper coating. While to the naked eye, it still appeared as a familiar copper penny, its heart had changed. The transition from solid copper to zinc in the early 1980s was a turning point in American coinage, signaling that economic realities could alter even the smallest denomination. This makes the 1985 D not only a coin of commerce but also a witness to monetary history, proof that no coin, no matter how small, escapes the influence of global markets and metal prices. The artistry of the coin also deserves deep recognition. On the obverse, Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most enduring designs in numismatics. Lincoln's thoughtful gaze, framed by the inscriptions of trust, liberty, and the date, captures the essence of his leadership and sacrifice. The small d beneath the year is more than just a mint mark. It is a stamp of origin, a mark that tells us this coin was born in Denver, Colorado, in the mid-1980s. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's depiction of the Lincoln Memorial stands as a symbol of national unity, reminding us of the man whose vision preserved the United States. The fact that Lincoln's statue is visible inside the memorial, even in miniature form, shows the incredible detail and precision that went into the design. Collectors often look beyond the design and focus on the condition. The 1985 D is a perfect example of how billions of coins can circulate almost unnoticed, yet a few survivors in immaculate mint state condition can command respect and value. Coins graded as MS67 red or higher are true rarities, even among billions, because they reflect flawless preservation and brilliant luster. Auction records prove that such gems can bring in hundreds of dollars, turning what appears to be an ordinary penny into a prize worth hunting. Error varieties add another dimension of excitement. Off-center strikes, die cracks, doubled dies, and clipped planchets are all known to exist for this issue. Such coins defy the norm, carrying mistakes that escape the mint's quality control and now provide collectors with a glimpse of the human and mechanical imperfections behind mass production. Historically, 1985 was an interesting year in the United States. The country was experiencing economic growth, technology was advancing rapidly, and debates over the value of maintaining the penny were already surfacing. Some argued that the cost of producing a 1-cent coin outweighed its usefulness. Yet the Lincoln cent remained, and the 1985 D is proof of the resilience of this denomination. For everyday Americans, it was the coin that jingled in pockets, dropped into gumball machines, and lined the shelves of small-town shops. For numismatists today, it is a piece of that everyday life preserved in metal. The charm of the 1985 D Lincoln cent lies in its dual identity. On one hand, it is one of the most common coins ever struck, an object millions pass through their hands without a second thought. On the other, it is a collectible full of hidden potential, with rare high-grade examples and unique errors capable of commanding strong premiums. This dual nature, ordinary yet extraordinary, is what makes it such an interesting subject for collectors and historians alike. In summary, the 1985 D 1-cent coin is a story of mass production, economic transition, enduring artistry, and hidden rarity. It represents the persistence of Lincoln's legacy, the adaptability of American coinage, and the thrill of discovery that numismatics offers. Whether found in a roll of pennies, tucked away in a jar, or preserved in a protective holder, this coin continues to carry value, not just in money, but in history, culture, and memory. This is not just a penny. This is the 2004 D Lincoln cent from the United States of America, a coin struck at the famous Denver Mint with billions made, yet hiding secrets that could turn ordinary pocket change into a fortune. On the front, the proud face of President Abraham Lincoln stares forward, surrounded by the eternal words, "In God We Trust," while the bold D mint mark confirms its Denver origin. Flip it over, and you see the Lincoln Memorial in stunning detail, a design that connects generations of history, with even the tiny statue of Lincoln visible inside. Most people will pass it off as a simple cent, but collectors know better. In pristine uncirculated condition, this coin can sell for dollars. In rare error forms, it can explode into the hundreds, even thousands. So check your coins carefully. The 2004 D penny may look ordinary, but in truth, it is a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. The 2004 D Lincoln 1-cent coin is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history that continues to capture the attention of collectors around the world. Struck at the Denver Mint, which is represented by the D mint mark located just below the year on the obverse of the coin, this penny carries forward the long-standing tradition of the Lincoln cent. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the design by Victor David Brenner has become one of the most iconic and longest-running in United States coinage history. The obverse side proudly features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" along the upper rim, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 2004 to the right of Lincoln's profile, directly above the mint mark. This design not only honors one of the most revered American presidents, but also represents national values of liberty, unity, and faith. On the reverse side of the 2004 D penny, the traditional Lincoln Memorial design is displayed. This reverse design was first introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and replaced the original wheat ears design used from 1909 to 1958. The Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, is depicted in remarkable detail, and with careful examination, one can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. Surrounding the memorial are inscriptions that are essential to every U.S. cent. United States of America along the top rim, the national motto, E pluribus unum, directly above the memorial, and the denomination 1 cent placed prominently at the bottom. This design serves as a reminder not only of Lincoln's leadership, but also of the nation's ideals of unity and democracy. In terms of physical specifications, the 2004 D penny continues the modern composition that was introduced in 1982. These coins are made primarily of zinc, 97.5%, with a thin copper plating, 2.5%, that gives them their traditional reddish appearance. Each coin has a diameter of 19 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and weighs 2.5 grams. This change in composition from the earlier bronze alloy was due to the rising cost of copper, which made it more economical for the U.S. Mint to switch to a cheaper core metal. The result is that pennies from 1982 onward, including the 2004 D issue, are lighter than their predecessors. Collectors often note the subtle differences in color and wear patterns between copper-plated zinc cents and the earlier copper alloy ones. The Denver Mint struck an immense number of 2004 pennies with the D Mint mark, amounting to over 3.4 billion coins. Because of this massive mintage, most 2004 D pennies are considered common in circulation, and the majority carry only face value. However, as with many U.S. coins, there are certain conditions and varieties that make specific pieces more desirable to collectors. For example, uncirculated coins with full luster, especially those graded in high mint state by professional grading services such as PeaceGS or NGC, can command higher prices. These coins, when free of scratches, spots, or weak strikes, stand out among the billions produced. Errors and varieties also make the 2004 D penny particularly interesting. Some examples include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, or improperly plated surfaces. Even small imperfections that occurred during the minting process can drastically increase the value of a coin, sometimes elevating a simple penny to a collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. This is why collectors and treasure hunters often examine their change carefully, searching for unique varieties that may be hiding among ordinary coins. From a collector's perspective, the 2004 D penny is an essential piece of the Lincoln Cent series. It represents the continuation of one of America's most beloved coin designs during the early 21st century. While most pieces are still easily found in everyday circulation, holding one in pristine condition, bright red, with sharp details, can feel like preserving a little piece of history. For younger collectors, coins like the 2004 D often serve as entry points into the hobby, as they are readily available yet still connect to the deep history of U.S. coinage. In terms of market value, circulated examples of the 2004 D penny are typically worth just 1 cent, as billions were made. However, uncirculated examples in mint state 65, MS65, condition can bring about $1 or slightly more, and coins graded MS67 or higher may sell for $30, $50, or even more depending on demand. Error coins, as mentioned earlier, can sometimes reach extraordinary values. For example, a dramatic off-center strike or a double die obverse might be sold at auction for several $100s. This is what makes the 2004 D penny a mix of both commonness and hidden rarity. It is everywhere, yet treasures can still be found. Beyond its financial value, the 2004 D Lincoln Cent is also a reminder of the everyday legacy of Abraham Lincoln. For over a century, his image has been carried in the pockets of millions, symbolizing not only monetary worth, but also moral leadership and national memory. Even in an age where digital payments dominate, the penny remains a tangible piece of history, often overlooked but deeply meaningful to those who pay attention. The 2004 D penny, though modern, is a continuation of this legacy, proof that even the smallest coin can carry enormous historical significance. In conclusion, the 2004 D Lincoln 1-cent coin stands as both a common artifact of modern American coinage and a potential treasure for collectors who value condition, rarity, and error varieties. Struck in the billions at the Denver Mint, this coin continues the story of the Lincoln Cent, honoring a great president while also serving as a daily reminder of America's values. Whether kept in circulation, stored in coin albums, or carefully graded and encapsulated, the 2004 D penny deserves attention not just for what it is worth, but for what it represents in the long timeline of U.S. history and coinage. The 2004 D Lincoln penny, while modern and often overlooked, is an essential chapter in the story of American coinage. Its value is not measured only in cents, but in the role it plays in keeping alive the design of Lincoln that has now endured for more than a century. By 2004, the coin had already been in circulation for 95 years, and although the design was familiar to every American, it continued to carry a sense of dignity and tradition. For coin historians, every strike from this year adds to the immense continuity of the Lincoln series, bridging the gap between early 20th century artistry and 21st century minting technology. Even in its simplicity, the 2004 D penny represents stability and national pride. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark below the date, has long been known for producing large quantities of coins for circulation. In 2004, the production of more than 3.4 billion pennies at this facility ensured that the coin would be a common sight in the pockets and cash registers of the nation. Yet, sheer mintage numbers can sometimes mislead collectors. While billions exist, not all are equal. Some are struck with exceptional sharpness, some escape the normal wear of circulation, and a few display mint errors that make them drastically more valuable than the rest. This is the paradox of the 2004 D penny. It is everywhere, yet hidden among the billions are pieces worth much more than face value. The physical composition of the coin is also part of its story. Since 1982, the mint has used a zinc core plated with a thin layer of copper. This change, made to cut costs, gives modern pennies a different feel and longevity compared to older bronze cents. Collectors often note that zinc-based coins are prone to corrosion and spotting, making pristine examples harder to preserve over decades. As such, a 2004 D penny in brilliant red condition, untouched by the environment, becomes far more than common pocket change. It becomes a gem, a survivor that defies the typical destiny of modern cents. From a market perspective, most circulated 2004 D pennies carry only face value. However, uncirculated examples, especially those graded by professional services, can bring in notable premiums. A coin graded MS-65 might sell for around $1 to $2, while exceptional coins in MS-67 could reach $50 or higher. Rare error coins are where true surprises emerge. A double die obverse, if discovered, could be valued at hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, or improperly plated coins can also turn an ordinary cent into a treasure sought by collectors. Stories of pennies found in circulation and later sold at auctions for high amounts continue to inspire collectors to look closely at every coin in their change. Beyond the financial aspects, the 2004 D penny carries symbolic weight. Abraham Lincoln's portrait reminds Americans of leadership during the nation's most challenging years, while the reverse memorial represents unity and democratic ideals. These themes resonate even more strongly in the 21st century, as the nation reflects on its past and future. Owning or examining a 2004 D penny is not just about monetary value. It is about holding a piece of art and history that continues to speak to the American spirit. Finally, for collectors building complete sets of Lincoln cents, the 2004 D issue is a necessary inclusion. It sits at the crossroads of the modern era, just a few years before the 2009 redesigns that celebrated Lincoln's bicentennial. For this reason, the 2004 D is not merely a filler coin. It represents the last years of a long-running design before change arrived. In pristine condition, it will always stand as a testament to the enduring legacy of Lincoln's image on American coinage. And for those who look deeper, it can be a surprisingly rewarding coin to study and collect.